Donald Trump's criminal trial is finally coming to a close. Lawyers made their closing arguments in his hush money case, the former president having this to say outside court.
Make no mistake about it. I'm here because of crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroying our country. He's destroying our country. And he's also destroying it with weaponization. And this is purely his weaponization.
All right, let's bring in now the Australian's Washington correspondent, Adam Creighton. Adam, thank you very much for joining us. Now, tell us the latest with the trial.
Good evening, Sharri. Well, we could have a result within 12 hours. It's that close, actually. So as you said, closing arguments finished up yesterday. The defence went for about 3 hours and the prosecution went for about 5 hours. Jurors actually stayed until 8 p.m. last night, which is very unusual. So this morning in New York, the judge will give the instructions to the jurors and then they'll start their deliberations. And that could take a few hours, it could take a few days. I mean, the experts say the longer the decision takes, the more likely it will be an acquittal. But the experts are basically pretty divided, 50-50. I mean, there are many areas where jurors should have reasonable doubt, but of course, this is New York. This is a district that voted 85% for Democrats in 2020. So we have to wait and see.
This was quite an extraordinary tirade today from Hollywood A-lister Robert De Niro. Have a look.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave.
It's a bit much, isn't it, Adam? Trump's going to cancel elections.
Yeah, look, certainly that actor's he's been on TV many times blasting Donald Trump. He's hated him for a long time. I think the real question is why Democrats thought that would help them. I mean, we saw in our own debate in Australia in The Voice that having celebrities on your side does not help. And one of the core concerns of Americans is, of course, inflation. So do they really want to be hearing from a rich guy in New York saying that Donald Trump supposedly is going to be a dictator? I don't think so, but certainly it was very entertaining.
Indeed. Now, Trump seems to have changed his view on Julian Assange. Let's have a look at this.
Will you pardon Julian Assange?
Well, I'm going to talk about that today, and we're going to give it very serious consideration.
So, Adam, look, there is this new groundswell of support for Assange. I've never personally understood it, but the general sentiment on both sides of politics now seems to be that he's kind of done his time, even though he's never actually done his time. But that, the view is, and there is this pressure from the Prime Minister in Australia on the Biden administration and obviously on parts of the Team Trump to pardon Assange and just let him be free and live his life. What do you think?
Well, I think the likely thing now is the US is just going to wait to see how this appeal goes in the UK. And perhaps if he's victorious in the appeal, if Assange is victorious, the US might just drop it. Because as you suggest, on both sides of politics, there is this growing support for him. There is this belief that he has served enough time, in effect. Look, I think in Trump's case, it's really going to depend, which ministers end up in his cabinet. I mean, of course, it was his administration that seriously pursued Assange in the first place. So there's quite a diversity of views. You've got Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, who really, really hates Assange. And indeed, of course, as you know, there were reports that he tried to kill him, have him assassinated. And then, of course, on the other hand, you've got people like the president's son,
sorry, Adam, let me just
Jr.,
clarify that there. Let me just clarify that there for accuracy. Mike Pompeo himself didn't try to kill Assange. The allegations are that the CIA, the allegations are that the CIA tried to have him killed. And those allegations were made by Assange's lawyer, who came on the show to speak about it, Jennifer Robinson, and she claims to have documents that support it. Continue.
Yes, that's right. No, so look, I mean, I think it's a really uncertain what happens. I mean, Joe Biden, of course, recently made a fleeting remark that he was considering Australia's request to drop the charges. So look, let's just wait and see. But certainly politics are involved. The more popular, the more sympathy there is for him, the more likely I think ultimately the US will drop the charges.
Justice system, especially in the US, never free from politics, as we've seen with this Trump case. All right, Adam Creighton, thank you very much for joining me.